the chemicals that take us higher. The night's young, and it's just begun, as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, every shot from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild.
Thank you for joining this evening, and we welcome you to the preview of the second test between West Indies and South Africa. Starts at 10 a.m. local time in Georgetown, Guyana, at the National Stadium there in the beautiful South American country of Guyana, and we're looking forward to it. It should be a very good test match for the West Indies and South Africa. West Indies and South Africa have played 24 test matches, with South Africa winning most of them. They only have 2 draws, one of which happens at the Queen's Park Oval there in Trinidad and Tobago last week. So we thank all the viewers for joining this evening. Remember to subscribe to our channel. For those that are new returning viewers, wholeheartedly gratitude and thanks to you. Viewers from all over the world, including India, Australia, New Zealand, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Barbados, and all over the rest of the world, especially in the United States, that we have most of our viewers. A pleasant good evening to you, and thank you for joining us here on West Indies Cricket Development Academy TV. It's an honor and a privilege to join you. I have along with me here Cricket Hall of Fame, as you can see on your screen, John Melbourne. We also have all of the Hall of Fame General Secretary, Honor Secretary with us, Mr. Dale Brown, and we should have a few more of our panelists joining us in the minutes to come. John Melbourne, thank you for joining again. The West Indies seems as if they'll go into this test match with an unchanged team. Do you endorse such an initiative from Coach Andre Coley and the embattled captain of Craig Brathwaite?
Very good afternoon, viewers, listeners, wherever you are, and certainly a very good afternoon to the panelists on this West Indies Cricket Development Academy TV platform. As I think we mentioned in the previous, in the post-test session, I think a lot of us felt that it was going to be an unchanged team. I have not seen any information yet. However, I still wonder what is happening with Shamar Joseph. Is he injured? If so, why don't the West Indies cricket management say, well, you know, Shamar is injured and can't play or something? You know, to let us know, because coming off such a high against Australia not too long ago, a few months ago, he was injured in England, and you know, why we suspect he might still be injured, but certainly something should be said. as far as this second test go, I think Captain Craig Brathwaite has an opportunity now to deliver on what he has said, that rain did not help the West Indies draw the match. Hopefully, we have 5 days of beautiful sunshine so the game can go 5 days, and at the end of the 5 days, Craig Brathwaite can get a win with this West Indies team. Obviously, the coach is satisfied. He's there. He's seen what is happening, and obviously satisfied with the performance coming out of the first test. I did see an article somewhere that Brathwaite was adamant about Jomel Warrican starting with in the 11. But and I think Jomel Warrican, for the most part, delivered for his captain, getting 6 wickets in that first test. We'll just have to see what happens now at Providence. Game bowls up Wednesday tomorrow, and hopefully our bowlers will come to the fore, and as well as our young batting lineup, Mikhail Louis, Kesey Carty, Alec Athanaze, and even Joshua Da Silva, I think, need to get some runs in this test match. So we will see what happens as I hand it back to you, Junior.
Thank you so much, Hall of Famer John Melbourne. We have the recently nominated and slated to be inducted in the Cricket Hall of Fame, Mr. Dennis Heath, joining us. And as you would know, we have the Honorary Secretary of the Cricket Hall of Fame and fellow journalist, Mr. Dale Brown, is on with us already. Mr. Brown, when you look on the West Indies team, how worried are you with the form of the captain himself, Craig Brathwaite, seeing that the team is at the bottom in the World Test Championship, with not many games remaining in the Caribbean other than Bangladesh? Our next assignments will be on the road to Sri Lanka and also to Pakistan. How worried are you with the captaincy of Craig Brathwaite, with the team being at the bottom of the World Test Championship? If this was a 2-division championship, West Indies would be on their way out.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Again, a pleasure to be here, and happy to contribute to this program. Thank you, Mr. Codling. We have a very busy schedule, but it is heavy loaded with one-day internationals and T20 internationals, as you mentioned before, because England will not be playing a test against us, and then when we tour Bangladesh, it's for just 2 test matches. So overall, for the program, the West Indies program, we are very busy, but unfortunately, not where test match cricket is really concerned. So it's going to be difficult for these youngsters to continue their development at the pace that you would expect them to be introduced to the format. It would have been good if even two more test matches we had 4 more test matches for the rest of the year, or 5 more for the rest of the year. But we only have 2. Brathwaite himself should be concerned about his form, but I expect him to dig in. And one thing he is that he's a determined individual, and I expect that to come to the fore in Guyana. I think he will be motivated by the youngsters in Mikhail Louis, the way they adapted themselves and performed in the last test, along with Athanaze and the older young veteran in Kivaram Hodge, and hold up bolstering the middle order. it gives me encouragement that they really do have something to look forward to, and we expect better from them going forward. Continued improvement going forward. South Africa had the upper hand in this last match, but when they declared, which was somewhat of a sporting declaration, whatever we want to think, at that point the match was in the balance. We had 90-something runs to get with 5 wickets left. And there's nothing written anywhere that we would not have gotten it or that we would have gotten it. So we would rather think that chances are we would have gotten those runs. That's how I prefer to look at it, because 97 runs and 5 wickets could have been had. Those are my thoughts for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Nominated recently and slated to be inducted in the Cricket Hall of Fame, which and that induction ceremony will be live on this TV, this Academy TV, and we are inviting you that you will tune into this TV to see the glorious induction ceremony. Mr. Heath, the last time you were here, I assume you were a bit scared because of that earthquake there in California. But now I gather that you are a lot more calm and collective at the moment. But how concerned are you with the form of West Indies in England and now here in the Caribbean? Are you convinced by the way they are playing?
You're muted, Mr. Hughes. It's me.
Thank you. Good afternoon to my fellow panelists and viewers and listeners of the West Indies Development Academy and on this TV channel. Yes, I have some concerns about the form of the West Indies going into the next match against South Africa. However, I have to question, and I think I heard my fellow panelists mention the skipper Brathwaite. I do have questions and panels because I've seen statistics suggesting that Brathwaite, since his inception as captain, has won only 8 test matches from about 38 or thereabouts. That is not a flattering statistics. So maybe it is time for us to take a realistic look at the performance of the captain. And there are times when he has performed showing that he was not an aggressive enough captain and he did not think. He was not a thinking captain because there are times when decisions were called for, aggressive decisions were called for, and he failed to use the aggressive decision that would have made a difference for the West Indies. I'm somewhat also concerned about the situation with Shamar Joseph. Shamar Joseph treatment since the Australia series has been somewhat, we've been left wanting because they've not been giving him the opportunity that he should have been given. He should not have been left out of the squad the previous test match, and there is decision or talk that maybe he will come into this test match series in Guyana because it's his hometown. And I think that that shouldn't be the necessary criteria because it's his hometown, but because of his performance and, of course, his development. If they decide to include Shamar Joseph, this would have to be at the expense of possibly one of the quicker bowlers, not Jaden Seals, but Kemar Roach. Moti, again, may also be on the chopping block. But my first instinct is that we should go in with the same side we have and make sure that Shamar Joseph gets his opportunity with the next series, beginning with the next series against Bangladesh. Jason Holder, his performance bowling-wise has shown that he has not performed as well as he had between 2018 and 2021. He had played 15 home test match series according to statistics, and he got 64 wickets in that period of 15. Since 2022, he's had 6 home test match series and he's only managed 7 wickets. So I would not be relying on Jason Holder as a batter, but he should be a reliable middle order stopper, one that we should be able to call upon to stem a bleeding if it came about like that. In any case, I'm expecting it to be a good match, a good series, and I'm certainly looking forward to it, seeing what transpires.
Absolutely. Mr. Francis is also recently nominated and slated to be inducted in the Cricket Hall of Fame come October 5th, which will be live on this channel. We'll be broadcasting and having comments and reactions to the induction ceremony there in Hartford, Connecticut. Mr. Francis, when you look at the West Indies team and the change that is about to be made, if not Mooti, then who do you suggest? Because when you look at Jaden Seals, that had a stint in England after the injury and also played 4 consecutive test matches now, one who tempted to give him a rest and allow Joseph to come in and ply his trade. Would you go down such a road? Is this an option that if you were a selector or the head coach, you would take?
First of all, let me say good evening to the panelists and to the viewers and listeners. It has been a pleasure for me to be here, and I hope I can make a positive contribution. Firstly, let me say the West Indies, if they are to make a change, I would feel that the only possible change they'll have to make at this point is to rest Mooti, bring in Shamar Joseph, and believe you me, they should use Hodge more. Hodge is more than just an off spinner. He is a useful wicket taker as well. And I think the captain should utilize his services much more. I see South Africa now is, word out is that Mulder will give way to Pede. And that shows that they feel that the wicket may take spin. I want to see the form of Athanaze continue. 92, 90, whatever you make 90 in the 90s, continue. Let this not be a one-off situation. Go. You know what it is to make a 50. You got to know what it is to make a century. Athanaze, because Louis, he too is subject to in the 30s and also we want to see him carry on back long. And of course, Brathwaite, most of all, he has the lead from the front. We have not been seeing him making big innings. He has not been doing excessive with the bat. And his leadership is questioned right now. I want to see him go on and lead. Bat long, don't be dismissed. Try and run this, rotate the strike. And ease the pressure on the younger batters in between. And Carty, you got to come back and repeat. In the 40s is okay. But in this day and age, we are expecting you to carry on, make 50 and even go aim for 100 all the time. You want to retain your position in the team. You have to perform. And I want to see we have a good fielding. And above all, our wicketkeeper has not been doing so well in the last 2 matches with the bat. you have to, put your heads down. You're better than that. We need at least 30, 40 runs from you every time you go to the wicket, and take the catches behind the wicket and do what you have to do behind it. Reduce the amount of extras. It is expected that the Providence ground will be similar to what was in Trinidad. And let's see if that works out. All in all, I think West Indies can not only compete, but they can win this match if they go with a positive mindset, and don't believe that they are the underdogs. You are our home, and you should play as if you're a bully at home. That's my take. We're looking forward to whoever wins the toss. I believe will bat, and that's my take.
Absolutely.
Back to you, Mr. Copley.
Thank you for your thoughts there, Mr. President. Somebody here in the comments, Mr. Harris, here in the comments say most of you guys are blind and selfish to keep down a youth who is so talented not to play in his home
Yeah.
town.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily agree with such comment as that, because none of us indicate that we did not want Moti to play, and
No.
we were more advocating for the inclusion at the expense of Seals, for Shamar Joseph, seeing that Seals just recovering from injury, and had a stint in England and play 4 consecutive test matches now. One would feel that he's been overworked at the moment, and he puts in a lot of overs, because even though Captain Craig Brathwaite has a policy of bowling his bowlers for 3 overs and then take them off, but when you add up all of those together, it's still a lot of work on the body. Fast bowling is not easy for those of us that used to play this lovely game. We're still asking our viewers to subscribe to the channel, and also to share the stream, and also to flash a like on this stream, because all of these will go towards helping us. And also please watch the ads on this stream of ours. John, when you look at the West Indies team, isn't it quite necessary now for West Indies to make the necessary change? If there has to be a change, they can't look at who is the home guy or who should play. The change should be made on merit. What do you feel about that?
I agree with you, Junior, that the change, if a change is to be made on merit. I disagree with whoever the commentator in the section about having a problem with Moti. I have always felt that when a West Indies team is named, Moti must be in the team. I disagree with him about leaving off Jaden Seals. He has been our best bowler so far in the 2 test series. And I don't think he's been overworked. Jaden Seals is 26, 27, somewhere around there. He's a young man. He's talking about overworked. And you have rest period between the test, between the England series and the South Africa series, and he has had a few days off to rest and recuperate since the first test. So I disagree. But the team, West Indies cricket have a history of not playing people on merit and playing them based on where the test match is being played or the game is being played and who is on the team from that area. I do question the omission of Shamar Joseph. And as I've said before, we don't know why he's not included because Cricket West Indies has not offered a statement about his condition if he's injured. But going into this test match, I probably go in with the same 11 and don't make any changes. If I had to make a change, it would be Shamar Joseph or Jason Holder. Back to you, Junior.
Yeah, it's very interesting that you say that. Mr. Brown, Joseph, in the last test that he played, would have gotten a lot of runs and batted with flair and style. And he's an all-rounder, not a finished work yet, but one that is in the making. So if you were to make a gamble, would you replace him with Holder?
You mean replace Holder with Joseph?
With Joseph. Ask Holder to rest and bring in Joseph.
No, I would not, because we would then have a very long tail. And Holder right now is much more valuable, I believe, to the team with his batting. He's more of a fifth bowler to give respite and rest to the main bowlers. So he's a vital cog in that wheel, and we would have to replace him with a genuine all-rounder. And when I said genuine all-rounder, somebody who could bat at number 6 and provide more than good support for the bowling. And none of those players are in this present squad, as far as I'm concerned. You have people who can bat and bowl, but not to the ability of Holder to bowl 17 overs and only give up 38 runs, or to hold the team together with an inexperienced batting lineup. So the short answer for me would be no, I would not do that.
Mr. Heath, what's your view on that?
Well, again, my first thought on our previous discussion was to leave the team unchanged. And I don't think it's a good idea just to bring a player in because the match happens to be in their home territory. So in that saying, if I was to make a change, my change would be to replace Roach.
But you would agree, and they're not going to change Roach, seeing that he's just coming back. He's an elder statesman. But you would agree that in Trinidad, with that slow and low dead pitch, the quicker bowler in Shamar Joseph would have been an asset like Rabada was on that Trinidad pitch. And seeing that the pitch at the National Stadium there in Guyana it was recently relaid for the World Cup, and it's more now taken to fast bowling than the traditional one that used to cater more for spin. But if it does go into the fourth day, the quicker bowler would come into play, and that of Shamar Joseph that can hurry the batters with pace. And it's on the base of that we're reasoning that he's much quicker than Holder, and he will always be quicker than Holder. So with that picture being painted, would you take the gamble in playing Joseph in the expense of Holder, seeing that Holder, you don't know when he will come good with the bat or the ball? He's very, very much inconsistent these days.
No, I would definitely keep Holder in the team for his batting mainly. And if I had to make a change, my change would be to replace Roach with Shamar Joseph. That is the change I would make as far as this team is concerned. But of course the question comes to mind, what is the selection panel and the selection process that West Indies is using in terms of getting the best team on the field each time we have a test match series. So definitely leave Holder in for his batting. Shamar could come in for Kemar Roach, and that's the change I would make in this instance.
What say you, Mr. Francis? Would you gamble with Holder, with Joseph over Holder, seeing that they would want to keep the two spinners in place if the game does get into the fourth day?
No, my feeling, and I expressed before, I would rest Moti. I'm not going to drop Moti. I'll rest Moti, bring in Joseph, use Cavern Hodge more, and the captain can bowl a few as well as Athanaze.
Yes, I forgot that Athanaze was not
yes,
used.
So those are my changes. No, leave Holder. Holder is useful for his catching in the slips and his height. If you put him in the boundary, he can prevent a six and bring off a catch. I just want to see them play as a unit. Maybe if Bradford bowls a little more and he gets a few wickets, or 1 or 2 wickets, that might improve his confidence with his batting. But I figure it's Moti for Shamar Joseph and use Hodge, Athanaze, and himself to fill the gap with the spin as well as Warwick. So that's my suggestion. I'm not a selector, but from an onlooker, I'd love to see that change. And you have to do something different.
Yeah.
In these days, test matches are not drawn. Guys, look. They are following the shorter format. These days, they want to have a victory, and the spectators love when you win. They don't love when you.
It brings more life into the game when you have a result.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's sad that at the Queen's Park Oval we keep having these drawn test match. John, since 2011, it's the first test that will return at the National Stadium there in Guyana. Are you worried that they are going to a venue which the younger player that plays the last time at that venue, the younger 2 players would have been Jason Holder and Craig Brathwaite. So it's almost foreign to all of them. And how worried are you about the captain of South Africa and Tristan Stubb, the batter from South Africa, with the kind of form that they have shown in the first test? How much of a threat are they, and how worried are you that if they do come off, they could spell trouble for the West Indies there in Guyana tomorrow?
Well, thank you so much, Junior. But you mentioned something here that I actually wasn't even thinking of, and so thanks for mentioning it, that the Providence wicket was redone for the World Cup and appears to be playing a little quicker now. Therefore, I suppose if Shamar Joseph is fit, is reason for him to play. I'm not so concerned about South Africa getting off, because we were able to restrict them to 347 runs in the first innings. And if you look at our bowling against England and South Africa, while it's not super penetrative, they have been restricting those teams to reasonable scores. And scores that if we had the batting to support the bowling, then it might be a different story. So, cricket, as I say, is a game of glorious uncertainties. And you go to Guyana for the second test, and somebody turns up for the West Indies with the ball, works some magic, which is maybe a pipe dream on my part. But no, I am not worried about South Africa getting off. I think they do have a decent batting lineup, but I think West Indies have the bowling to restrict them for less than 400 runs. The question is, can West Indies bat and go past 300 runs in an innings and then come back in the second innings and bat solidly? We seem to always fall down in the second innings. And I don't know if that is a lack of mental preparedness, mental concentration. But if we can get over that second innings hump of falling down, I think we will give South Africa a good fight in this second test. Back to you, Junior.
Thank you there again, Mr. Melbourne, Hall of Famer. Mr. Brown, with the Andre Coley, as I hear, leave on his contract. But since him taking over as the head coach there in South Africa, the West Indies batting in Test cricket has been on a, up and down, up and down, up and down. What's the mindset of Andre Coley and the players? What is he feeding them on a mindset, on a mindfulness point of view, or in that arena? Because the West Indies team, if you would reason it on that level, they are very, very retarded where execution is concerned. So are you worried about the coaching staff that the West Indies think tank is not operating and giving our players the best possible mind preparation to go into game, execute their plan, and get the job done? Because we have seen, as Hall of Famer Melbourne just explained quite well, that the West Indies has not been able to close out games. Even if they perform in the first innings, the second innings is a far cry from what they would have done in the first innings. So articulate for the viewers what you're seeing the lot thereof from Andre Coley and his coaching team in regards to this West Indies team that before him and Phil Simmons wasn't doing too badly in Test cricket.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Codlin. First and foremost, in any athletic endeavor, especially at this level, there's no question about talent. What comes into question is mental preparedness to last the course, meaning endurance, not physical endurance, but mental endurance. And we have a young set of players and they need guidance. They need to be guided onto how they should navigate through challenging times, while they're out there batting or they're out there bowling, how to be aware of match situations and respond to little things that bowlers may or may not try to do. We see, just to use an example, Athanaze batted extremely well. You cannot take anything away from him. But the way in which he got dismissed, he was set up. And he made it easy for Maharaj to set him up, in that he was using the sweep shot. And they moved the fielder and bowled the ball a little shorter, knowing he was going to sweep. And of course, he did sweep, and he got caught by that same person that they had moved to backward square leg for that very stroke. We look at Carty, where the bowler bowled a full ball on his legs. He played it. Then he bowled a short one outside the off stump. Then he took a short mid-wicket and and brought him a little bit closer, and then bounced him on the stumps, knowing full well he was going to go for that shot. And it didn't take even 2 balls. It took the very next ball for him to go for it and get caught by that individual. It is telling me either they are not watching the field, being aware of what the bowler is trying to get them to do, and that comes back now not just to the coach, but to the administrators, because if they are not emphasizing the need for mental preparedness and being aware of what is going on around you so that you can survive these tests, because cricket, the bowlers ask questions and the batsmen answer them. And if you are not mentally sharp, you're not going to answer them correctly on a consistent basis. So I would start with the administration and what they are bringing out there for these youngsters as guidance, and they need coaching not on the field of play, but in their heads, the mental aspect of the game. We saw the captain batting and played a total uncharacteristic stroke, which was really an ugly swipe at the ball. What could he have been thinking about? What was he trying to achieve with the 3rd ball of the inning? What were his instructions coming from the head coach?
Yeah,
You have to ask yourself that question.
if the leader is giddy-headed, then it answers the question, what is happening with our team, and,
Yes.
and this is one of the reasons why West Indies team is performing so poorly, because the leader is not using mindfulness in his preparation. His grandmother would have been a focal point in previous years, because he lost his grandmother, and the focus that he said he garnered was that he had to please his grandmother, and that's the reason why we have seen the amount of runs that he would have scored against all the oppositions that he played against. But something gone now. It's no longer motivation, and you're suggesting that for him to perform better, and by extension the team, he needs mindfulness training.
Yes, absolutely. And being a captain, let us not forget, gentlemen, is a very demanding job. And right now, it's Brathwaite, it's only Clive Lloyd, Vivian Richards, Brian Lara, Garfield Sobers, and Holder, Jason Holder, who has captained West Indies on more occasions than Brathwaite. And if he captains in this game, it will put him to 35. And if he's the captain against Bangladesh, it is going to equal him with Holder as captain. Now, Holder is not a specialist batsman, and Brathwaite has been there for a very long time. And as I say, I believe that the captaincy now is weighing down on him, just the same way it weighed down on Holder, and Holder had to give it up after 37 tests at the helm. Brathwaite is at 34 tests right now. Mm-hmm. And I believe the end of his tenure is coming up, whether or not anyone wants to admit it, but it's weighing heavily on the young man, very heavily on it. And he doesn't have the batting style to lead by example, by dominating bowling attacks. He doesn't have the style to do that. And that makes it harder for him to set the pace for Mikel Louis, Casey Carty, Alfanese. They are actually better batsmen than he is. He's not, you listen to the names I just called out, Lloyd, Richards, Lara, Sobers. He can't compare with these persons as a batsman. And as a batsman, the only specialist batsman who ever captained the West Indies, who averages lower than him. Remember, we're talking specialist batsmen now, who captained the West Indies for more than 10 matches, that average lower than him, is a gentleman by the name of Jimmy Adams. And what brought Adams down was after he got hit in his jaw, in his head. He never, as far as we know, nothing was done for him from a psychological point of view. He never recovered from it. And his batting went all the way down the drain. He was not a great outstanding batsman to begin with, but he went down an average barely 30 with the bat, batting at number 5 and number 6 for the rest of his career. You know, so the mental approach is very, very crucial. One way to start would be to have a psychologist travel with the team to support ongoing classes with a psychiatrist or a psychologist to deal with the tough situations in life, which translates to the cricket pitch, and help them to deal with whatever challenges that they would be facing. I see one of the things that they just signed, I'll just end with this. One of the aspects of the Memorandum of Understanding, the MOU, that they signed recently with WIPA, it was to allow the players' families to travel with them and to provide accommodations for them, because they realized that having that familial support would help them mentally. Okay, that is wonderful, but why don't you hire someone to teach them how to do it? Getting their family and having their family there is great. I applaud them for that. But you need a professional now to sit them down and help them to focus their attention and to concentrate for long periods of time. A man is not going to average 60 runs per innings or 50 runs per innings unless you can get him to bat two and a half to 3 hours when he goes out there to bat.
That's right. And we endorse everything that you said, and this is what we are pushing for mindfulness to be instituted in West Indies cricket, because it will help to make the cricket better and to improve our rankings and our position in world cricket. Closing out.
Brother Codlin, I'm sorry, Mr. Codlin, if I may just say this though.
Go ahead.
That mindfulness is not just about cricket though, you know. It's about the whole person. It's a holistic approach to life itself. So it will help them to be better husbands, better boyfriends, better fathers, better uncles, just a better person. And it's going to then turn around. It's a byproduct now where their cricket is also going to improve.
Yes.
That's a byproduct of it.
It's an holistic initiative.
100%, sir.
Absolutely. Mr. Francis, the question is, can West Indies win this test match starting at 10 a.m. local time tomorrow?
Yes, I believe West Indies can. But my take on the whole situation is that they should maintain what, or do better than what they do well in the last test. For instance, in 92, that Anthony's made, 9, he should try and improve. Each batter should improve on what they have done. And those who fail should approach the task as if, well, I owe something to the team. One of the areas that I think that we are weak on is having the ability, losing wickets at crucial points, at the last few minutes before break. They have to find something to counter that. They can win. They're at home. They're in Guyana. What the captain is known not to bat well, or in the second innings of each time he goes to the wicket. He has to improve on that. Or fielding, Joseph, I believe, would add to our fielding. He's quick in the outfield as well, and he can give you a few. And that's why I advocate for him to come back, for them to bring him back in place of Moti, not because Moti is not a good player. but he needs some rest. He didn't do well in his batting as well in the second innings. And our vice captain, I feel, has got to show better resistance with the batting. In England, I saw him give himself out for an LBW. He walked. Very seldom do you see a batsman walk. We need resistance, improve on what we have done before. And the little things like before an innings or break, we are losing too many wickets at that point. So I suggest they have to go approach the task. We are here to win, not to draw. We are home and we can do it. You can do it if you believe you can. If you believe you won't, you won't.
Absolutely. That's the mindset they should go in with. Mr. Heath, what do you expect from Captain Craig Brathwaite tomorrow, opener Michaela Louis, and number 3, Casey Carty? And do you expect a near score or 100 from Alec Atenis tomorrow, and for Hodge to continue with his form that he has shown in England and glimpse of it here in the Caribbean? Just run down those for us, your expectation from them, and from a bowling point of view, that of the returning Kemar Roach and the continuation of Jaden Seals, and also for Jamel Warrican to continue to pay good faith to Craig Brathwaite, who single-handedly demand that he must be included in the playing 11.
Well, I expect that Carty will come back and produce. I'm expecting Athenaeus to continue where he left off. Kevin Hodge partnering Athenaeus will certainly be a good match. So I'm expecting that the team as a whole, batting wise, will do the job. My only concern is, of course, the captain, because the captain has shown that he is not a reliable partner. Michael Louis, he has the style and he has the shots, but he has to be a little bit more selective in the ones that he attacks and the ones that he let go. So I'm expecting all of those to put some runs on the board. Bowling wise, I happen to think that Warrican will give us more of what he gave us last time round, simply because Warrican, playing in the 4-day matches, he was the 3rd highest wicket taker in the 4-day series for the Caribbean West Indies 4-day championship. So I'm expecting Warrican will come back and give us a lot more of what he gave us this time around. Jaden Seals, a workhorse, and I really don't think he needs to be rested because he's quicker than Holder, he's quicker than Kemar Roach, and I expect that he will be successful. I do wish, though, that, as I said, that they would give the opportunity to Shamar ahead of Roach. However, I previously advocated for a no change. But if there is a change to be made, that is where I would make it. I'm not going to wholeheartedly say you must play because of, we're playing in this country's national, the country of his origin. But one other point I wanted to comment on, and I've heard my fellow panelists mention of the mindset and the mental preparation of the players. And I would like to go so far as to say it's not just the players, but the coaches as well. And I particularly disappointed to see that in the recent interview that Coley, the coach, gave, one of his highlights was the time he spent overlooking what was happening at Manchester City football ground. Now, Manchester City is a football team. Coley is a cricket coach.
Absolutely.
If you're going to seek pointers, then you go to a cricket team or cricket club. You don't go to, you're not a CEO. Kohli is not a CEO, so why would he want to see the inner workings of a football team as opposed to the coaching attributes and requirements for cricket? So the mindset and the mindfulness training that we are espousing for the players must certainly be included for the coaches, because if the coaches are seen as role models, they can set examples, and when they speak and debate with the players, then the players will certainly take it in stride. So that's where I see that, Mr. Codley.
Thank you for your thoughts, Mr. Eat. Just one more question, Mr. Brown. Would you be surprised if they throw a debut to Brian Charles tomorrow?
Yes, sir. I would be extremely surprised. I don't see any reason why they would even think about doing it.
Absolutely. West Indies is full of surprises, and let's see if one will be thrown at us tomorrow. But one thing for sure, we're not writing out Shamar Joseph that he will come into the 11 tomorrow. That's where we end it for this evening. We thank all our viewers that join us from all over the world and that will be looking back at this show whenever it goes out. We'll be back tomorrow at the lunchtime, 5 minutes after the lunch interval, to look back at the morning session with the West Indies and South Africa in the second test at the National Stadium there in Georgetown tomorrow. And we'll be inviting back our panelists to share the moments with us. And we do wish the West Indies all the best. We thank the Cricket Hall of Fame, which is our main partner, and we thank all the panelists that would have joined us, Hall of Famer John Melbourne, who have departed earlier, and also we thank the president of the Cricket Show USA, Mr. Leon Francis, and also his co-host and analyst with us here at the Development Academy, Mr. Dennis Eat, and the Hall of Fame Honor Secretary, Mr. Dale Brown, for joining us this evening. Thank you all, and we do wish for you all the best, and we are inviting you back tomorrow after the lunch break to come and listen to us as we dissect the morning session. Goodbye for now.
To the city
Goodbye.
streets, we began to feel.
Hold on, you